Hey, it's James from Finney Electrical, and today's video we're installing these up-down lights at the front of this house. Let's get into this. Right, so we're down on this property then, so we've got a few up-down lights to fit on. So they want one this side, nice and low, this side nice and low. They didn't want them higher up. So we're going to get some cables there, and we're going to take it off this existing light, the cabling. So I'll show you how we do that. There we go, so this is the inside then, so we're going to drill through on an angle, try and pop out close to this side as possible, if we can. And then we'll have to clip up, along, and then drill through to outside. And then we'll probably get like a junction box here, and then we'll come out, down and through for that one. So it should be interesting. But yeah, this is staying as it is. It's going to be like a bricked porchway. It's going to have like a freestanding shelf there, or a unit or something. They said same again for there. We've also got some sockets going in, so we're going to get, this floor's getting raised up to this height. So we're going to nick some power off there, take it through, and then come up to a metal clad socket over there and over there. So we've got quite a few bits to do, but yeah, let's crack on then. So first job then is to get this long drill bit into here. We'll have to get him on to the middle of the light, because that's the bottom of the light, that mark there. And we'll have to angle him in and try and pop out in the corner of that room. Let's offer him up then, so I want the bottom of the light to be there then. So if that's the bottom then we need to be drilling through this seam here then, don't we? Something like that. So let's get this marked up then. We'll measure out the exact centre of these inputs. We'll have to get that to land up exactly on that brick line there. Right, this is how you work out the angle then. So you get the depth of this, which is 430 from this point to that point, and then we want to see where we want to pop out in that corner. So that is 320. So what you do is just mark it out the floor-ish. So let's just use these crappy screws that come with it. So that's right at the end of the wall. Let's do 320 then. So that's your 320 there. And then we go, what was it, 430 it was. That's the depth of the wall then. So we go 430. Have a look. Which is basically all the way to the wall, which is handy actually. So that's 430 then, so that's your angle then. So if we want to pop out, so that's his mark, that's his 320 from where we want to drill out to the edge of the wall. Is at this mark here, like that then, so that's the edge of the wall there. So that there is our angle, so that's going to take you to there. That's your end where you're popping out, that's your angle. There we go. So if you're going to drill that, you can get your long piece and your drill, copy that angle, and that should pop out right in the corner. If you want to bring it slightly out, so we don't want to be right here, we want to pop out maybe 2 inch that way, so we can just bring it this way, 2 inch where you want to pop out. And that's your new angle then. So instead of that, it's that. And that's how you do it then. Line him up like that, into the wall, where you want it, and that's your angle. Yeah, we're starting that straight. It's going to go in about this much, and then you want to start kind of changing the angle then. Right, so halfway through we're just going to check that angle then. That's this angle we've got on the floor, and it's still there, so just carry on. There we go, so mortar to mortar, and that's a perfect shot. Right, here's my new angle set up then. So we've got the width between where we're going to start drilling from and pop out on the other side. This is the depth of the wall from the point of that screw to here, and that's his angle then. So if we follow that, that's to the corner, so if we just come slightly out to that, it's going to land within 1 to 2 inch coming out from this wall. So it should land within this kind of section. Hey, knowing that distance, you even know exactly when you're going to start to pop through. So you can get it on hammer to get it through. When you're about maybe 2 inch off, you can take it off and just guide it through off hammer. If not, it'll just go and explode a brick on the outside. You could still blow a brick, but hopefully this will just go through nicely like the other one. Yes. Oh yeah, what a shot. So basically you got a brick wall, and then you'll have like a cavity like this, and then another brick. So you imagine going through your first cavity, and then your cable drops, and it never hits the other hole. So it's quite hard. So you have to send your cable through, and then just tweak at the end. So as it goes through the cavity, it meets the second hole, and then hopefully carries on. But yeah, look at that. What a shot. So usually you have to get, if it's quite tight in the corner, you have to get a bit of rigid 10mm or something, because a rod won't actually bend past that corner. But that's gone in beautifully. Yeah, I thought I'd investigate then. So obviously that cable going to come along and connect into there. However, we've just covered up that sensor, and like a light under there, a light in there is pinged on, and this light's now live. So we can just connect into this light here, which the cable comes along into that corner. So we'll just put a little junction box on. It's not three-way goes, and then it won't be coming along. It'll just be kind of connecting to the corner, which will be ideal really. Let's kill the power. So yeah, these little lights going in. No lamps with them though, so I don't have to know that. But yeah, so all we have to do then, little grub screws, it's just live earth neutral, wire them up, get them on, do your grub screws up, and then we'll have to get some lamps in there later, but fortunately they haven't provided any. And there we go, 2 lights up, not too bad. So we just noticed that this light here, when it comes through, is not the centre of the door, not the centre of that window. So we just had a chat with her then. I'm just going to basically chase out a bit of mortar to the centre line here. So just going to chase from here to here, and then they're going to fill that in, and then the cables will pop out here instead. Right, next then we're going to try and, I'm thinking, drilling in from there, behind the plaster and into the side of the socket. Hopefully that'll, it can be done, but it's just whether or not if it'll do it. So I'll have to measure up off the floor to get where to drill from, and I'll have to get it pretty straight to land in the wall, and hopefully into a 20mm knockout of the box. It could go very wrong. Right, so I've popped out behind the box, so I'm going to get the box out and then get the cable through the back. So you have got like a 5mm thing around the box, like tolerance essentially. So you've got 10mm all the way around, but if you go all the way around, you screw your socket back, it'll just disappear in the wall. So it needs that, at least a 5mm gap to kind of hug onto the wall. So we're just going to take 5mm all the way around, the box will pop out, we're about to kind of make a channel behind for the cables to fit through. So, but yeah, we're going to look at it because it's one cable coming through. So if it's on a 20 amp breaker, we're good to go. If it's on a 32, we might have to go into the room behind, and if that's on a ring, we'll have to extend the ring all the way through the porch to pick up the 2 new sockets. That is multi-tool. Beautiful. Absolute shot and a half. So lucky for us, it's on a 20 amp, so it means we can basically just come straight off the back of that socket, which is mint. So what we're going to do is pass the cable through there then, get into the back of that box, and then what we're going to do then, a little bit of black conduit to the side of a double socket to the centre of this. Piece of black conduit coming down. This is getting a false floor put in, so the guy's going to put some, like a wooden structure down, then a floor in, and so he's going to kind of tack that up once that's being built. So the same again for that, so we'll come into that socket, down, around, and then just nip it round and up a piece of conduit to the socket on that side. So it should look nice, neat and sweet. Look at that, beautiful. And we've got another one. Yes sirree. There we go, can't tell we've been. Nah, it's definitely winter now, so I can't really see, so I've got to get a light. I've got to install this light here, up on the wall there. So, it comes with a back plate with some wobbly screws that like to fall out when you're installing it. So we just like to tape off the back then, just to make sure that they don't fall out when you've got to screw it on at the end. If not, you have to take down your fitting and do that again. So if you do like that in the first place, it'll be a lot easier. Now we've got to mess about with the GoPro settings, but we've actually got the lights in dark. Should be super grainy, but there we go, but they're looking great. So, no cables on the outside, everything's hidden on the inside. Got a couple of sockets. Top job. There we go, that's us done for today then. So, tell me what you think of those lights. I know I couldn't really talk loudly. She was like in meetings all day, so I couldn't really say much or talk. So, yeah, tell me what you think. A bit of a tired day today. I got there, got up this morning, puncture in my tyre, and I had to ring round. Tesco's little air machine wasn't working. I had to ring round, went to his garage and kindly pumped up all the tyres for me, and we found the nail. So I've put a bit of silicone over the top of it, and then I'm gonna have to get it taken in and get a new tyre at some point. Yeah, tell me what you think of those lights. And I think I would put some better some lamps in there, warm white to match the top, and it would have looked a lot better, obviously. Hello Sunday crew. Hope you've had a good week. Hope everyone's been enjoying themselves. I'm off for rock climbing actually, and getting a pizza. So Sarah's coming home soon. I might have to pick them up from the train station, so I'll have to pick her up. That's the point. And I've got a food segment. Yes, after that I went to Greg's and got a festive bread thing. Flatbread. It's flatbread, festive flatbread. It was amazing. So that's all we've got time for today then. So if you like this kind of like content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the little bell notification so we know when my next upload. So as always, I'm good from me, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, I've got to film the fireworks, but here's me on a Bucky Bronco.